What's going on, everyone? So I am back with another programming walkthrough video today. It's just basically a series where I kind of go through my training sessions and give my thoughts and thought processes as to why I program the sessions the way that I do. We've already covered a push and pull session, so we're going to get into a leg session today. So this is my legs A session. I have a legs A and a legs B, the same with everything else. I have a push A and a push B and a pull A and a pull B. This is legs A. And this is my hack squat focused leg session. So let's go ahead and get right into the programming. So as you guys have probably noticed by now, I start this session off with 2 sets of either bicep work or delt work. It just kind of depends on how my programming split is going at the moment. So right now I am doing legs A the day after I train push. And so obviously if I do delt work on push, I'm not going to turn around and then the day after do more delt work here on the leg session. But on my other leg session on legs B, I'm actually doing that the day after a pull session. And so obviously on that leg session, I would not turn around and do more bicep work the day after doing some bicep work and pull. So I do some delt work on that session. I like to use either my bicep work or delt frequency work and just get that done right at the very beginning. I don't like doing it at the end. I just like doing it right at the very beginning and just getting it taken care of so that I don't have to worry about it anymore. From there, I'm going to hop into my calf work. And I've talked about this on my TikTok and my Instagram, I guess, a couple times. But really, my main thought process with doing my calf work first is, one, I'm able to put more effort into it than what I would be if I had done it at the end of the session. And 2, I am less likely to skip my calf work. So I think we've all been there. We've all done the calves at the end of our leg sessions, and we get done at the end and we're just super exhausted and super tired. And then one of either 2 things happens. One, we either get on the calf raises and we just kind of put forth a half-assed effort, or 2, we just skip the calves altogether. And so by doing them first in the session, not only am I able to put more effort into my calves and progress them a little bit better, but I also find that it actually helps improve my squatting pattern for the day. So I have a couple injuries, namely in my right ankle that I suffered during my 8 years of playing football. And so I have really tight ankles and really poor ankle mobility. And so by doing my calf work at the beginning of the session, I find that I'm able to kind of warm up my feet and warm up my ankles and warm up my calves, which helps kind of improve the feeling of sitting in the hole in the squatting pattern. Now, that could completely be entirely mental, but I just have found that ever since I started doing my calves at the beginning, not only have my calves responded, but I've also gotten better at my squatting patterns and have improved the feeling of my ankle mobility, which has just kind of helped me access deeper squat patterns and keep my feet lower on the platform just to help recruit more quad. Another thing that I like to do when I program my calf training is I like to use both a seated calf raise and a standing calf raise within the same session. So there are a couple different thought processes on this. So you could potentially program them on different sessions. So if you have a legs A, you could do a seated on that one and a standing on legs B. I personally just like to do both in the same session. I don't think that one is better than the other, assuming that the volume is equated. I just personally find that when I'm doing both in the same session that I'm able to kind of split the stimulus a little bit better. I don't even know if that's something that makes sense. Probably not. But I just like having exercise variety within my sessions. And I like doing both the seated and the standing calf raise within the same session, just so I can tick off different boxes. Obviously, the standing calf raise is going to hit the gastroc more and the seated is going to hit the soleus more. But typically how I will structure them is in the legs A session here, I'll do the seated first and then I'll do the standing second. And then in the legs B session, I will do the standing first and then the seated second. So even though I'm doing both in the same session, I've kind of switched the order. I've kind of switched the rep ranges between legs A and legs B just to keep the stimulus fresh and keep being able to take progressions on my calf training. So after I finished my calf work is actually when I get into the isolation work of my leg sessions. So something that I do differently in my leg sessions than I do to my push and pull sessions is that I will always do my isolation work first on my leg days and end with my compound work, whereas on my push and pull sessions, I tend to flip-flop that, where I do my compound work first and then I do my isolation work. Structuring my leg days this way has really come as inspiration from Jordan Peters mainly. There are a couple other people who I follow who structure their leg days like this, but Jordan was really the first one to really suggest this that I noticed at least. And the biggest change that I can attest to this is being able to put more effort into my isolation work, which was always something that kind of suffered. Obviously, when you train really, really hard and you do hack squats and leg press and things along those lines, those exercises are extremely fatiguing. And so I found that if I was doing those at the beginning of the session and then I was hopping on a leg curl, an adductor, a leg extension, the amount of effort and focus that I could put into those exercises was diminished quite a bit because I was so tired from the hack squats and the leg press. So by doing my isolation work first, not only am I able to put more effort into those exercises, I also find that it helps warm up my joints and my knees and my hips, and it makes me better at my compound work. And I actually find, contrary to what people would believe, that it doesn't actually take away my strength. So some people may think that doing some leg extensions before getting on a leg squat, a leg press or a hack squat would take away your strength on that lift, but I don't actually find that to be the case at all. I wouldn't say that it makes me stronger, but it definitely doesn't make me any weaker by doing them at the beginning. And if anything, I feel that it increases the mind to muscle connection with the lift, helps me recruit more muscle fibers, and it also keeps me safe and keeps my joints warm. So this is just how I like to structure my leg days. Typically, what you're going to see for the three main isolation exercises are always going to be adductor, some form of a hamstring curl, and then a leg extension. On my legs B session, I use the seated hamstring curl. On the legs A that you're watching right now, you're watching a lying hamstring curl. But I find merit in both of those exercises, so I just like to rotate them between my A and my B sessions. One of the other things that I really like about structuring my isolation work before my compound work on my leg days is that it completely changes the session mentally for me. So there's something that is really great, I guess for lack of a better word, something that I really enjoy about going into the hardest exercise of the day. In this particular case, it's going to be the hack squat, and knowing that once I put my maximum effort into that hack squat, that I can just leave the gym and I don't have to do anything else after that. So that's something that really has kind of changed my mental approach to training in this session. I basically picture this session as all of the work leading up to one all-out max effort set of hack squats, and then as soon as I put everything that I have into that set of squats, then I get to go home and rest and recover. So that may be another contributing factor as to why I like to structure my leg days like this, is the mental aspect and how it changes my psychology of how I approach this session. So that would be something to keep in mind as well. After the leg curl, I like to get into a leg extension, and I actually like to use paused reps on the leg extension on this particular session. The leg extension exercise is obviously the only exercise that we have available to us that's going to fully shorten the quad, and so I just like to spend time in that fully shortened position just to emphasize training the quad in that shortened position and really take advantage of the leg extension exercise. After one really good set of paused leg extensions there, my knees and quads are definitely ready to get into the main work. So for this particular session, we are ending with one max effort set of the reverse banded hack squat. Now, typically when food is higher and drugs are in the system, I would be doing a leg press in between the leg extension and the hack squat, and I would end on the hack squat. But right now I am dieting very aggressively, and I'm also cruising with my PED usage. And so because of that, my recovery capabilities are not as good as what they would be, obviously, when drugs and food are higher. And so I had to make a choice in my programming between the leg press and the hack. Which one was I going to keep? I decided to keep the hack because I think that that's going to be the more valuable of the two exercises. But once food and PEDs go back in, I will definitely be looking to add in another leg press variation here. So hopefully you guys saw while I was talking about that there, the warm-up process that goes into working up to my all-out top set of the hacks. So I like to typically do 2 to 3 warm-ups. Right now it's about 3, and I'm not doing any of my warm-ups more than 2 reps, and I'm just kind of incrementally increasing the weight as I go up. So I think my first warm-up was 2.5 plates for 2, the second one was 3.5 plates for 2, and then the last one was 4.5 plates for 2, and then here I am working on 5.5 plates plus some change. You guys can see the little 2.5 on the end there, and the little green plate, that's actually half a pound. So I was fractional plating and micro loading this lift today. And basically my thought process with the hack squat here is once I get a weight up to 10 reps, I will micro load it and I will add 1 pound to the bar the next time I come in the gym. And basically my goal from there on out is just to hit 10 reps every time I go in the gym with half a pound to 1 pound heavier than what I did last time. Obviously when I'm on PEDs, I should be able to add a little bit more weight than just half a pound to a pound. But really right now, this is all the progress that I can take on this lift is really small load increases and then aiming to match reps. So that really has kind of been the plan of attack for the hack squat during this cruise phase. As I mentioned, obviously when food and PEDs go a little bit higher, I should be able to get incrementally stronger on this lift than what I am doing currently. And I thought that I would throw this in here for you guys. I very rarely post progress pictures or videos, but I wanted to throw this up here. This was after the leg session. I'm dog shit at posing, so excuse that, but still got a lot of work to do on the legs. I would honestly say that my legs right now are the single biggest thing that are holding me back from wanting to step on stage. So just need to continue plugging away and building these legs. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like.